Okay, excellent. Got some challenges. So George Dev, just send off challenges even while I'm playing. I think it still works. So George Dev to start off with. I think English opening. So play it safe. Kind of. So I'm fianchettoing the bishop, and I'm going to play this knight ge2. It leaves this f pawn available. Okay, so c4 is an issue, right? So I'm going to play d5. So I've got that d4 square. I think this is comfortable to have that d4 square. I'm going to park my knight there and play bishop e3. I don't want structural damage with bishop e3 immediately there. Okay, so here, this looks like a quite comfortable position with this kind of Benoni structure. I've imposed, or it's transformed into Benoni structure. So in the Benoni, d6 is vulnerable. Let's stop b5. Except the bishop's not fianchettoed. Okay, so try and control the file. Maybe queen d3 and bishop e4 coming up. Is that a good idea? Bishop e4. Maybe bishop e4 is a good idea. Create some weaknesses. If f5 is played, it's more weaknesses. I'm going to double here, so pawns don't go backwards. So there's a concession. I'm going to double. Oh, more pawn moves. Okay, I'm hoping this is going to backfire later. There's quite a need to cover those weaknesses. If I play f4 here, just to deny the knight e5, and I'm looking forward to this e-file as well. I think I want to double and have the possibility of using the g-file and this diagonal. I mean, that's the plan. Oh, rook e6 was possible. Still possible. But I'm going to try and give more flexibility to use the g-file and also this diagonal. So bishop c3 here. It looks as though rook e6 is a sort of thematic liberational move. It does seem tempting. Or there's queen takes f5. Either. This looks nice. It's too juicy not to play. It's too juicy not to play. Okay. So it's actually immediately winning material. Okay. It's a check. It's a check. Okay. I think and now there's another check. This looks pretty vicious. Okay, there's another kind of capture move. Check. I assume I'm mating. I think I've got away with this first game. Bit lucky here. Alright, thanks for that, George Dev. Icelandic Giant. This is going to be a dangerous challenge, isn't it? 2384? Question mark. Okay. Am I going to get slaughtered just in the second game? Okay, so knight f6. Okay, this is a bit of a slow-paced game, isn't it? For a 3 minute. I've used all of like 6 seconds so far. So queen e7, h6 coming up. Bishop e6. I'll put this rook back. Maybe I'm prepared to have double pawns. Okay. A central location, maybe for d5 later. I'm not convinced this is good for me. I'm going to give this a file up. Okay, maybe c6. There's rook a7. Oh, let's unpin for c6. Okay. C6 is the idea here. I've unpinned. Pins are just as useful quite often as... Sorry, unpinning is just as useful as pinning quite often. Switching off things and switching on things. So let's have Queen C7. Knight D7, Knight B6. Okay, I think I'm going back here. This looks a bit... I'm under the pressure here. Under pressure. Can I go a knight to A4? Ooh. Okay. Yeah. I'm under pressure. I'm hoping this is not too terrible. C4, A4 could be potentially emphasized with the light square bishops coming off. Can I actually play maybe bishop C4? Or just taking, actually, for knight C4? Yes. Why not just that? Okay, knight F5 is a bit dangerous. Try and contest this A file, but I suppose rook A1. What about G6? Queen A7, rook B8. I'm holding the fort. Okay, sort of, at the moment. Or am I? What if I use the A4 square instead? So I'll try and use A4 instead. Okay, at least it's sort of doubling the pawns, knight C5. If that's anything of interest. Okay. This is a hard battle, this game. There's an idea of this, and knight E4. Let's keep that in mind. Well, there was. Back to C5. Ooh, C5 is a problem. I found an issue, I think, in the opponent's position to pick on. Okay, finally found an issue. Okay, I think C5 here, if takes and two connected passed pawns. Trying to undermine my F5. Ooh. Alright, I don't want to give an F5 square. This isn't that easy, is it? Okay. Maybe dislodge this knight. This isn't entirely easy. B3. Alright, now that actually he's given me that running pawn. Although there is knight D6. It's never that easy, is it? Alright, what's going on here? B3 or check. Okay, let's just give that pawn to centralize the knight for B3. And then, is there anything clear that I can do? Anything clear? I think I'm going to have to actually run with my king here. Oh, there is rook E2 potentially. Oh. Oh. I've been caught in a perpetual check. After all that, I've been caught in a perpetual check. Well played. Well played. Excellent. Oh, very, very hard game, that one. Can we avoid increment, please? Avoid increment. 3 or 5 minutes preferred. 3 or 5 minutes preferred. Beast of Benin. Okay. Okay, so E takes. Knight F6, bishop B4. Okay, I'm taking here. And alright, I did have a disaster last week with something to do with E5, a bit worried about that. Can I just get this bishop over here without an E5 disaster? So bishop G6, knight D7, knight E5, F6, knight E5. Rook e8, knight e5. Okay, I think that sort of unpins that. So knight e5, f6, queen d7, that sort of thing, to improve the position a bit. Queen b7, queen b7, not queen a6, but queen b7, c5. That's another scheme. Oh, okay. Go on then. Okay, so f6, bishop f7. Okay, so queen e6, and okay, let's see, knight c4, h6, maybe that's the move, h6. Okay, so knight d7, knight c5. Okay, I'll get the queens off here. I think the structure is better. Or not. Okay, rook b2. Ah, can I take here? Oh, this c6 is a problem. Can I play... Okay, knight e6. c6 is a problem. Okay, there's two bishops to be had. After bishop takes c6, maybe that's not a problem. Okay. Knight g5 for bishop takes c4. Knight g5. Whoa. That's a bit of a naughty move, which I've missed. I shouldn't be missing moves like that. Yeah. Okay. It could have been deadly. I mean, nearly. So, queen takes and knight g5, or queen b2. Queen b2. Alright, what does he do on this? Does he do rook d2? Probably rook d2. Can I play knight g5? I'm a bit... Actually, the position's not that great, is it? The back row is a bit weak as well. Haha. The back row is weak. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing now after knight g5 necessarily, because my back row's weak. Okay, f2's been left. Okay, that's good news. Okay. Rook d8 coming up. Is it? Okay. It's a little bit precarious. I'm going to get my king out, I think. This sometimes is a bad idea. I'm hoping it isn't an entirely terrible idea right here in this position to go to g5. Am I asking for trouble? Okay, I'll take that guy. King's out for a snack. Okay, thanks for the game. Okay, chess master. Okay. e5. Alright, I'll play this. Bishop b4. Castle. f3 looks like a dark square weakness stuff, which I generally like. It's not going to castle here, surely not, because that's a disaster. Yeah. I'm not sure why the f3 construction was chosen necessarily. It's a Maroxy bind, I suppose, but I kind of like this version of the Maroxy bind. Sometimes this version, there's a lot of dark square weaknesses around the shop. So, yeah, I'm going to try and get into those. These dark square weaknesses, a scheme like knight h5, f4 is provoking. Bishop c6 might be handy just to be able to take on d5. This knight h5, queen h4 business is interesting. Maybe even getting the queens off could be a sensible thing to simplify. The person with the space advantage has a kind of responsibility to keep enough pieces to maintain the space, otherwise it could backfire. Alright, but this c file is a problem. Yeah, that is a perk in this position. I've given a perk. There's an a file pressure. Okay. Can I go in with... Oh, there's knight f5. Okay, interesting. Knight e5 for g6 to start off with. And maybe if I arrange my rooks, I'm in trouble there. There's knight takes d6 coming. Yes. I'm just seeing knight takes d6. Okay, I have to do some sort of counter-attack against the structure. Against the structure, I have to counter-attack. Otherwise, this is it. This is end of game. If there's no counterplay. Trying to generate some counterplay. Okay. Maybe rook c2 is counterplay. And g5. Is there enough counterplay? It's not entirely clear. There is a check. And there's king d4, so let's prepare that. Not to lose all my pawns here. It's this one or this one. Okay, so there's knight f3. I think I have got counterplay. Hold on. I think I might have counterplay. As remarkable as it might seem, I'm actually be doing okay. If I take out the exit square, no, it's got bishop takes b5. Oh. Well, there is a check and a check here. Hold on a sec. And now, is there a magic trick or not? Maybe I can just take and take here. So, clinging on to pawns, b6 or b5 for rook d3 again, and renew this mating net. b5, take an escape square. That's usually a good thing, guys. But there's e5. There's e5 coming up. No, it's not a mating net though. It's not a mating net. Okay, I'll pretend as if it is. Just to get a pawn. Get a pawn. It still looks quite promising at the moment. Okay, famous last words. This pawn is dangerous though. Oh, don't tell me I fell for that one. No. Did I really fall for that one? No, 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 no. Oh no. Okay, anyway. Okay. I fell for anyway, moving swiftly on. Megaframe. It's strong today, isn't it? The challenges. Okay, very strong. Okay. Yeah, pass pawns are so dangerous. You shouldn't allow them, really. It's too much in the morning, pass pawns. Don't allow them in the first place, if possible. But he forced it on me. He forced the pass pawn on me, so what can I do? Okay. If I castle, rook b1, knight h4, or bishop d2, bishop rook b5, queen b1, rook b5, queen b1. I think rook b5 is looking good for queen b1. I think this looks okay, this position, at the moment. It looks okay. Is it tactically okay? Rook b5, queen b1 would be the plan, I think. Okay, so c5 coming up, maybe, or queen b1, treble for rook c5. And treble. So queen b2. Oh, okay. If I just leave that. Hold on. If I just leave that, I get probably the f5 square. Try and get a square out of this. If I'm giving a semi-open file, trying to get a square out of it, if possible. Oh. Aha. Is it the case I'm just getting hacked? That's what I'm worried about here now. I'm just getting hacked, aren't I? Am I just getting hacked on the G file? That looks kind of vicious. Uh-oh. Yeah. This doesn't look right. My attack looks non-existent here to my opponent's attack. Is there anything to do here? I don't think there's anything really to defend this. My pieces are just in the wrong place, actually. It looks as though my pieces are in the wrong place to defend anything here. This could be, it looks absolutely crushing. I can't see anything else but being crushed here. I guess I could try the queen c1. Is there a rook? Is there potentially a rook g1 or a queen d3? If I can, I suppose if I can get to play queen d1, it might be able to salvage something. I initially thought it was just mating, but maybe this isn't this position. If the queen comes to d1, maybe it's not mating. Definitely underestimated the attack there for some reason. Too casual about that. Queen D1 coming up. Okay, there's uncertainty, it seems. My opponent's spending time. So, is it some uncertainty? Yeah, maybe, okay, maybe I'm back in business. It could be that I'm back in business. I didn't really realise that could happen. That's good news. No, there's good news, Bez. Good news, Bez, all around. Queen check. Or queen check here. I can just take that. Okay, very lucky there. I was very lucky. Okay. Let's try an English opening just to mix things up. Azuga. That I was going to resign. I was on the verge of resigning. Actually, it's good maybe sometimes to play on. And I'm sure that maybe there was a clinical continuation for white. It looked good. For black to finish off. Okay. Okay, so D5 coming up. So okay, so D5 coming up. Got the bunny ears. Okay. The bunny ears are just ready. I know I've been a bit of funny today, but no, I haven't lost horrifically totally yet. I haven't lost the game horrifically, but but okay, Bishop B2, Knight D4. I've done what I've changed the rules of the game, guys. I've made it 3 minutes. I can always swindle you on the clock. I've made sure I've got plan B, basically. Yeah, I've made sure 3 minute. I can always swindle you guys on the clock if needed. It's really good. I feel a lot better doing this now because you're so strong, some of you. Okay, a lot better doing this. Yeah, Rook A E1, Rook E2, Rook E. Let's just double the rooks here. Okay, so Knight D5. Or you could swindle me on the clock. Maybe it works both ways. Often it works both ways. Okay, so Fast and Furious 3 minute chess. So here we go. F4. I think I have an interesting position. I'm controlling F3 right now, aren't I? I imagine I am. This bishop's closed in for a moment, which is a very, very good sign. I'm just going to make sure these other pieces are not doing too much. H3. Maybe. Is that a weakness? I like my setup. H3 is not working. H4 then. H4. Is that doing anything? Not really doing anything at the moment. So am I asking for things to happen to my king? I suppose I am. That is weakening G6. If I just do a cute centralizing move, threatening Queen takes G6. Right. I can actually play Bishop takes B7 and Bishop C6. It's not just the case of winning a pawn, it's that C6 square. Bishop C6 coming up. Okay, I'll take with the bishop not to lose that bishop. Right. Can I go in with Queen C6 or not? There's Queen E6. There'll be trouble ahead. So, how would counterplay be sorted out? Queen F3. Just to make sure I don't lose on this E file later. Entry point E1. If I could just hold that entry point for a moment, Bishop F2. Back to the center, Bishop D5. Let's take that. Okay, thanks for the game, Azuga. The 3 minute also has the upside. I can go through a lot more challenges, so there's that upside, than 5 minutes. So there you go. I think it's fun so far, isn't it? Okay. 1 fun, 10 boring. Okay, no. So this is a tango. I'm going to try and get the bishop outside of the pawn chain. I feel this is the way of upgrading this structure. It's the F8. It's the F8 bishop, which could be often an issue when you're cramped like this. So A6 bishop, A7. Okay, that looks unusual. Do I cash out on that? I'm not sure. I don't like the idea of my, knight H4, knight H4, knight E4. I'm going to force you to visualize it. Knight E4, Queen H4, Knight C5, D takes C5. My structure is a bit racked. I like the dark square bishop. I'm just going to keep it, actually. I'm going to keep this dark square bishop. And there are cute things like bishop H3, potentially. And this is a nice road to the king, if I'm not castling yet. It's cheeky to leave the king there to give the option of bishop F6, because I think that's favourable for me. Double pawns, visually bad, functionally great. Classic trade-off. So rook G8, I think in the context of a speed game, can be dangerous to give the opponent piece activity. In a longer game, sure, you could neutralise the piece activity a bit more easily and then reap the structural benefits. But here, okay, yeah, maybe he's reaping them. Okay, just that's a move which pushes me back. Let's try and get this right, if there's anything. Is there anything? F5, F4. I think I need these guys involved. This one. Spectator. Okay. If there is knight G3, there's knight F4. That would be nice. The knight's guarding quite sensibly F4. This knight doesn't look well placed. Okay, knight F4 now. Now knight takes H3. Yes, pouncing in. There is an issue with potentially F5. At the moment, yeah, it's good I have the bishop still, but otherwise F5, maybe H5. Okay, so this pawn is a target. H5, Queen D7, maybe castle queenside. That would sort things out, I think. Do I need to play it here? Just in preparation of... maybe that was silly. I can't castle queenside anytime soon now. Can I? I have to do this. Okay, so Queen E7, castle queenside. So King B8. And finally, oh, I could have just taken that. I've just noticed now. Oh well. So I'm going to double here. Okay, I'll take this off. Double. There's H4 here for rook G3. On G4, well, there's F4. There's rook F5. There's rook H4. There's rook F4. There's F5 after. Well, here I can just take here. Okay, there's Queen D7. Queen D7. Okay, I'm controlling G1. I'm not going to let my opponent off that easily playing that move. So, oh, there's fun stuff. Queen A4 to F4. Am I being pedantic if I took this pawn? Yeah. Queen E2, creeping in. Okay, over here, trying to creep in. Check. Kill a common square, G2. Thanks for the game. Okay. Nick the Great, NK the Great. So Mexican defense, or is it? Oh, don't tell me it's a London system. No, it's a relative of London. No, it's not really that relative, but okay. I'll try and play a sort of classic way here with maybe just a classic way. It is transposing into a London system for sure now. We've got a London system style position where it doesn't really matter about the double pawns usually. Okay. And I've got the difference of the fianchetto here. I think I'm solid. That's what I'd recommend, yeah, for white to do. In general, but there is a light square impact. The light squares are a bit impacted. Queen b2, is that pawn worth it? Maybe rook. There's no rook d3. Okay. Maybe the point is knight a4 here. If I've got a point to make knight a4. I'm hoping this is a reasonable point to make. Structurally, I hope this is okay. Can I actually challenge that? If I was there, rook c4. No, there isn't. Change the file. Oh, no. Alright, can I get this file? Oh, let's just blunder the knight. Let's just blunder the knight instead. Oh, that's clever. Okay. Bunny. I'm bunnied. Okay, okay. Bunnied. Alright, sorry. Okay, thanks for the game. Okay. And 6-1. No. Sandro. Sandro Lacco. Okay. Here we go. 3-minute challenge. Are we ready? I'm going to have to abort in 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't think Sandra is around actually. Let's just go to the next one. So, okay. Nikhil's 18. Okay, so e6, bishop b4. Coming up. Right, my castle, and there's a plan of d6 and e5 coming up. I've been checking this out in recent months, this kind of position. Okay, I think I can use the c5 square. So b6, knight a6, knight c5. b6, is that too weakening? I say b6, but it is weakening. There's a cost on that. Maybe I don't need to do that. Maybe knight d7 and then knight c5 or knight e4 coming up. Is knight e4 anytime any good? There's e4. Hold on a second, there's e4. Okay, I think this has gone wrong. Okay, thanks for the game. Rag. Okay, here we go, Rag. I hope you don't mind abbreviation. Okay. Maybe a French defense. Okay, because I've been trying to reignite my knight c6 French recently. So knight c6 French. And inviting e5. Oh. Okay, I'm going to take that. Oh, we could have a take back if you want. Yeah, I mean, we could have a take back if you want. I don't know. Okay. Okay, bishop b4. Okay. Okay, coffee time, I think. If you're into IT, you should check out IT Crowd. I revisited that on Netflix, by the way. Very, very good. IT Crowd. Very, very funny. So bishop takes, knight takes. Okay, I'm going to take this guy off, and okay, yeah, and queen d5, and I'm not going to allow the form pawn. I'll play h6, not allowing this form pawn. Okay, so e5. Trying to break up the center. Okay, so take it here. So I'm probably going to play. Okay, I don't want to be back row mated. Alright, I could take the queen though, because I do have h7, it seems. Staying here. So I think I want to play queen d6. But anyway. So exposing the king is a thing to do, usually, quite often. So cooperation here on e1 to celebrate in some way. Okay, thanks for the game. So, Sam, can we make it 3-minute challenges today? 3-minute challenges. Your Gip. I'm going to play the English opening. What, bullet or 3-minute? It can be Fischer random if you prefer as well. So the English opening, I'm going to play g3, bishop g2, and maybe this e4, although it feels naughty, but it's the Botvinnik system. Naughty to weaken d4. This is an advance of h4 to be able to play g4. Okay, knight ge2. So the price of this structure is the d4 square. I'm not entirely sure even about taking, because it gives black stuff like the c5 square. It might be better if black takes, then you don't really give anything to the opponent if they take. Okay, so there isn't the c5 square, it's still hemming in the bishop. So this Botvinnik system is quite a popular setup, Botvinnik structure. So I think f4 and e5 looks like a recipe here, a standard recipe to play f4. Oh, there's also e5 to win the rook. That might be worth it. Sometimes it's There's a bit of a backfire though, but I think here it's worth it. This is a pretty reliable system, I think, if you're not in a tactical frame of mind. It's a bit of a, to me, I've been thinking about it recently, it's a bit of a relative, a more, maybe in a way more respectable relative than the Stonewall. You're accepting a certain weakness. Okay, I'm going to just take this bishop here, I think. Let's not activate the rook for a laugh. I don't want too many disasters this morning giving activity where I don't need to. If I can keep pieces contained, it's a better policy, I think. Trying to avoid those disasters. Okay. Although it is tempting here, this to take and queen e4. I'm so tempted, I'm going to do that actually. Queen e4. I think it's the case. Rook a1, knight d5 to c7, or, well, various. I think I'm okay here. I'm going to just get rid of the flames. So knight f6, queen takes b7, knight f6, and the queen takes b7. Okay, thanks to the game. Go Gip. Channel. Okay, I'll try a knight c3. Channel. Is Channel ready? Oh, Channel's around, right? 1, come on. 2, 3, 4. Ah, I was hoping Channel was around. We have to have bought this. Okay. Chess Grandmaster 2020. Is that the challenge for 2020? Chess Grandmaster. Okay. So, if you do want to get stronger at chess, not necessarily a Grandmaster, but check out Kingscrusher TV/chess tactics. It's really good. It's over there. It's at the top of the list there for a reason. I think it's the most beneficial tactics. Teichmann said chess is 99% tactics. I believe it, actually. Well, it's a large percentage anyway, not 99%. Okay, so that's something I've thoroughly enjoyed. I'm working on another tactics course at the moment, actually. But I think there's a paradox. If you're working on tactics on the same day as playing, I think it could be detrimental to your immediate performances. But maybe the later performances do get improved, but not your immediate. You know, you want to like mix training days with playing days. I think like rest for a tournament is always, it's kind of handy. I think for calculation skills, being rested, visualization, calculation. If I can take this knight, I should take this knight, shouldn't I? So anyway, so bishop e6, knight e5. Okay, I can protect c6. So knight takes f3 or d5, maybe d5. Bishop f5. I think that there might be something to also be said about playing dynamic structures, because I quite enjoyed playing the Sicilian Sveshnikov, which is a very dynamic structure, but I think you do get sort of tactical benefits for your calculation and visualization if you start up with dynamic, you know, non-stodgy openings in your tactical development, even if they are short term. You know, you're going to lose a lot of games positionally, but there's a sort of challenge to sort of defy, you know, use the dynamics of the position, and it might be just a split second moment to use the dynamics of a position, but that kind of training when you play these dodgy kind of openings, not dodgy, it's kind of dynamic like Sveshnikov, which is, Magnus Carlsen used. But if you play that sort of stuff, those like single moment opportunities, I think it's sort of good tactics training in a way than more stodgy openings when you first start. Thanks, Chess Grandmaster. So, we're not playing 5 minute. We're not. Since I've accepted it, but please can we play 3 minute, guys? 3 minute. Can you set your challenges to 3 minute? Or 1 minute? Bullet. I don't know what you guys think on the chat about that. If you're starting off in chess, do you think you should be playing more dynamic pawn strategy? Because I think that will give you more piece activity, and piece activity is part of the ingredients, quite often for tactical combinations. So if you play more stodgy openings, I think there's less exposure to tactics in general. So I think with more exposure and to those make or break moments in those dynamic structures, as an example, I think Mikhail Tal was a brilliant tactician, and if you think about the pawn structure he enjoyed was the modern Benoni, and that's a bit dodgy nowadays. It's dodgy, but he had some very dynamic, aggressive games in the modern Benoni, where most people would have just lost from many of the positions he had, but he created like these amazing opportunities, like sacrificing queen quite often. So in those moments, it's like make or break moments. I think if you get that kind of exposure to dynamic structures, I think that's interesting. The reason I took up the Sveshnikov was not for any clever reason, though. When I was younger, is because I thought it sounded cool, Sicilian Sveshnikov. It wasn't a very clever reason why, but it did also not just sound cool. It was pretty dynamic, aggressive. Quite often you get the bishop pair, a G file, in some of the lines. It's quite a dark square bishop with that counterpart. There's a lot of fun to be had, and especially if your opponents are paying some sort of cost to double your pawns, like giving you a certain bishop of a certain colour, then they haven't got that bishop of that colour. You can celebrate that as well quite often. But I think it's sparking up the tactical opportunities. When you play dynamic structures, is if you can do that, I think that helps. Even later, if you want to become a positional player, I think it will help later. Just manage counterplay, hopefully, or play good tactics from good positions. So, am I getting hacked here on this H file? This is a worry a bit. Can I just neutralize this H file, or why is this? It's a dangerous ride because I'm playing a dangerous ride. Dangerous ride indeed. Oh, what about Queen takes G4? Okay, I'm going to try and neutralize the H file. So, okay. I'm going to be boring here. I think I have to be boring and just try and trade off. I know this is terrible, but I want to trade off the rooks because I don't want to be mated. It's really embarrassing being mated, when streaming, I just want to trade off the rooks, I want to minimize my possibility of a horrific accident. So I feel if I trade off the rooks there, okay, here, G5 remains as a target. We could keep this simple and my king could just walk in this endgame. Could it not? Or I could nick this A5 pawn, which seems to have been neglected over here. But then there's this plunge to my queen side, and I actually don't know how to answer queen A2. And at B3, I drop A3, but that's kind of an exchange of prisoners there. So I think all in all, B3, B3 all in all, because the thing is, I don't want this queen A2. Okay. There is F4 as well. There's that pin to try and win another pawn. If he's remaining in this pin, I'm going to play F4. If he doesn't remain in the pin, then it's a slow kind of uphill thing to win this game, but at least the risk factor is reduced. A win is a win is a win. If I can just grind a win positionally now with king g4, the risk factor is all reduced. Something I only found out in the last few months is actually Karpov was using, in his interview, he said he was using Petrosian style, but just to win. So you have that riskless, I don't want to give an outside pass pawn. This would be a dangerous thing to do, to give an outside pass pawn there. And it takes quite a long time for black to create a pass pawn. So I'm just going to do this, g5. Right, now, I think to be stubborn against the pass pawns, a8 seems safe enough, because it still takes time to take out the barriers. Am I missing something? Oh, crikey, am I missing something? I hope not. That is a pass pawn there, but if I click like this, please let there be barriers. Okay, thanks. Yeah. Okay, so Sandro. Hi, Sandro. So let's see. So this is kind of Mexican defense. Bishop c5, d6, a6, bishop a7, bishop d7. I'm playing like hacker here. Queen c8. Playing like hacker, knight g4. Now, this is this is okay, let's see. I don't know what it is. Hacking chess, hack attack chess. Don't know what it is. Knight g4. Anyway, I think I'm winning material the way this has been played. So rook h3 here, and any sort of clearance, maybe that's a clearance. I just want to play, rook h2 and queen h3. So I arrive at king e7 here, which threatens rook h2 and queen h8, king e7. But there's knight d5. There's a bit of a snag, actually. Knight d5. And if I go here, then this is checkmate. That wouldn't be entirely clever. So I could try and upgrade that plan with f6 and king f7. I think I'll do that. f6, king f7, with the threat rook h2. So king f7 with the idea of rook h2. Okay, so this is a very naughty idea. Very naughty. It's a sort of clearance style move. It's dangerous because rook h1, there's also queen h8 anyway. This is a dangerous position for white, I think. I can try and treble anyway if I need more pressure. I can probably play queen h5 and yeah, queen h5 and rook ah8. Okay. So I don't mind losing c7. There's a bit of time given for rook h8. Rook a to h8. Well, I don't need to qualify the rook. It's the only rook that can go to h8. Okay. If I take that off, I feel the dark squares are collapsing in white's camp off this dark square bishop exchange. It's probably worth checking out this for rook h2. I mean, rook h2, it's a bit of controversy there, I think. Rook h2 here seems as though there's I'm not actually that entirely convinced, but it looks so dangerous. But knight d4 as well and bishop c6 maybe, or stuff like that. Okay, so I'll keep that thing open. Oh, there's knight g2 anyway. Maybe this isn't such a big deal. Actually, this isn't such a big deal. It could be a big deal if there's rook h3 for queen g3. So I'm trying to undermine g3 now. And there's Queen G1. It's not a big deal. If there's Rook H3, oh, there's Queen G4. All right, G5, and there's check. And it seems as though I'm not getting anywhere now. I'm on the defensive. I'm not getting anywhere. That's a shame. Yep. This has gone south. Okay, so back to the drawing board. Try and open up this bishop on the light squares somewhere, but it's so solid. King F8 for G5. Gives me G5 without this check. Alright, there's no E5 yet. My only advantage is the clock, so I should probably, whatever I do, I should try and create some pressure on the opponent somehow. Queen here. Alright, this is one of those situations that I'm going to try and use this side of the board. Aha. Try and use this side of the board. Try and get this pawn to A3 to play Rook B2, which is a little bit of pressure on the opponent. Alright, now I'll try and chip away to weaken this structure. Alright, now I'll try and get my king over. I think the pass pawn's decisive. Alright, yeah. Yeah, it's about setting difficulties quite a lot, isn't it? These Blitz games. If you can set difficulties, that's a lot. Worth quite a bit. So C4. English opening. Bishop G2. Knight GE2. Okay, so Bishop E6 would run into D4 and D4. I think that's a common trap to be aware of. Bishop E6 runs into D4. Okay, I think this is a sort of common trap to be aware of. Unless I've fallen into a trap in this particular position, which I hope I haven't. Okay, it looks as though D5 is a move. And you get the similar thing in Sicilian defense positions like closed Sicilian, the idea of playing a quick D5, D4. It is like reverse Sicilian sometimes, the English opening, obviously. I mean, not obviously, sometimes. I mean, it is, not all the time. King H2, Knight F4, Knight H5, King H2, Knight F4, Knight H5. When does that come into mind? It comes into mind. When does it come into mind? En route, it seems logical to control D5 a bit more. G5 is just going to be a very committal move. Knight H5 generally, it's not essential. It's not essential. This bishop is probably one of the black's better pieces to get rid of if there is any counterplay coming up in this game. I don't want this bishop involved. So this commentary, by the way, is exaggerated commentary. I'm treating it as if, you know, when you try and pass your driving test, you sort of exaggerate the signal, you know, mirror. Yeah, I'm sort of exaggerated commentary. So Bishop E3. I'm trying to get rid of this bishop. So I hope you don't mind. It's not entirely my usual commentary. Okay, so Queen C4. Knight B5, I'm on D6. Queen C4, Knight B5, I'm on D6. One of the beauties of the English opening is generally the D5 square. It does simplify quite often the plans. I remember Andrew Webster, who became an IM later, and he's not in chess anymore, but he was a brilliant player. And I remember this tournament with him, and Michael Adams was playing in it. And he was saying, as if, yeah, I'm going to draw with Michael Adams if I play the English opening. Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Adams at the time, as a junior, was only rated 240 ECF. Yeah. But anyway, Webster managed, in this tournament, Webster managed to draw with Adams. It was a fantastic game. But he did recommend to me the English opening as a way of, sort of easy to play, not much theory. I remember that. It's quite interesting times as juniors. So, let's see. So, yeah, the English opening, because I associate it now with Andrew Webster, his recommendation when I played the English opening. So, okay. So, bishop e3, queen d2, f4, f5. This is a sort of stereotypical plan you can get away with in this Botvinnik structure because there's not too much going on in the centre, but you've got to watch out for d5. If I played bishop e3 as d5, it sort of liberates the opponent's position. So I'm going to try and dissuade this d5 with this a5. Okay, now, yeah, I'm running into d5. It looks as though maybe, queen b3, though. If there's d4, I'm losing a piece after. I'm going to run into d5, d4 if I'm not careful. I could start off things, instead of bishop e3, I could start off things with queen b3, which looks as though it's just designed against d5, but it's actually about bishop takes b6 as well. If I start with this move, it takes out some of the downsides of this move order, I think. Start with that move. Okay, so here we go. So queen b3 for bishop e3. All right, so bishop e3. Interesting comment in the chat. I'm not sure everyone would want to be Bobby Fischer. Bobby Fischer he got to the top of that thing, but it wasn't great after. There wasn't really a happy ending, I'm afraid, guys. I think chess does take a toll on the brain. I'm wondering if chess should just be kept generally for most people as a hobby. Yeah. But, if you do keep chess as a hobby, I think you should check out my tactics course. It's going to enhance your fun as a hobby. Yeah, that is an amazing tactics. Anyway, I'm not going to go on about it. But yeah, chess does take a toll. I think in the, I wonder if in the pre-engine era it was sort of tougher when they had to analyze everything by themselves, even more mental strain, rather than in the current era. It's a lot more about searching what other people have researched or just using computers. I wonder if it's actually Fischer did something remarkable, which but anyway, so g4 would have been tougher, wouldn't it? So, and he analyzing on the razor sharp Sicilian Najdorf stuff. Okay, so knight g3. Okay, there is queen h4, bishop h3, knight g5. No, there is no knight g5. There is a knight g5. All right, what do I want to allow into the position here? This looks all a bit ridiculous to allow this stuff. I could extinguish with f6. The problem is, bishop g5, there's a backfire with knight g4 taking on g5. Okay, I'm going to play a move which I'm hoping is not crazy, to try and take control of h4 here. I want to take control of h4, and if I can take control of, get the rooks on the h file, then it's all go for the attack. For a moment there, I was thinking, f6 and bishop g5, or if bishop f6, rook f6 and bishop g5. But there's always knight g4. This tactic, knight g4. Ah, has my opponent gone? Oh, okay. Oh well. Thanks for the game. Anyway. Okay, on to the next challenge, I think. Queen sacking. Okay, so I'm sticking with the English opening today because it makes me, I feel, look more respectable when I play the English opening. I'm alluding as if I'm Mikhail Botvinnik or something. I feel I'm alluding to Mikhail Botvinnik here. So anyway, this air of respectability in my chess, which, okay, normally in tournaments, I'm just trying to demolish people as quickly as possible. This is like a luxury opening, when you're not in those all-you-can-eat tournaments. There's no rush to win the game. Win it in 100 moves, win it in 200 moves. Doesn't matter. When there's no rush, that luxury. Yeah. You can imagine yourself as Karpov or Petrosian or Mikhail Botvinnik, yeah. I don't think they do well in the league chess all-you-can-eat tournaments. I think the guys that would do best, it would be Tau, that would be the top guy, Spassky. They just wipe out people just like that, just like that. Just like that. Yeah? None of this 100 move grinds, yeah. This is a totally inappropriate opening for those all-you-can-eat, yeah. Can you imagine? Spassky, Tau, Okay. Oh, thanks, Mimic. Subscribe with Prime. Yeah, you can subscribe with Prime, yeah. Okay, so this is a very relaxed mode opening, yeah. Okay, very relaxed mode opening. And I know this is a very strange paradox, but I'm telling you the truth. I really enjoy. I know a lot of people don't. I enjoy Petrosian a lot. His style of play. I think he hasn't been celebrated that much on YouTube. That is a queen sack, but doesn't do much on this occasion. Thanks. So Petrosian. Oh, yeah. If you want to learn positional play, I think start with Petrosian, Karpov. Oh. Strategic chess, Botvinnik. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. So the tango begins. The knight's tango. So the knight goes to g6. So you guys probably have never played this before, most of you, but I just get very good results from it. Just yesterday I came third in the daily bullet. I think I did use tango in a few games. So we're essentially saying the d5 structure has a downside of dark square weaknesses. You can exchange off this guy for this guy. Then essentially you're you're emphasizing squares like f4. If you can exchange this guy for this guy, then things like f4 could be very useful, especially with this knight ready for f4. Maybe, if you think about this strategic bishop exchange, go back to Petrosian for a moment in the French defences. Quite often you see he's playing b6 and bishop a6. He's exchanging in the e5 structure, the light square bishops, and so he's getting access to interesting light squares like f5 and c4. In the French, if you look at Petrosian games, you'll see that the strategic bishop exchange in closed openings gives a sort of nice upgrade to things, yeah. But it's not the end of the world if you're white and, you know, there's obviously dynamic play quite often. Okay, I'm going to castle and then see. I need to see what the opponent's setup is actually before saying anything really after castling. Should I even castle? Okay. It looks as though the opponent's set up for c5 potentially. This is a bit like a King's Indian style position, except I like my bishop here rather than fianchetto. Now it's, you know, having the king on h2 ties up the rook to f2. So this, even though it's looking like a cheap move, I don't know, now there's pressure points. Okay, sometimes these cheap moves, if they cause, the paradox, I think, of a cheap move, if it causes an irreversible decision, like a pawn move is an irreversible decision, then it doesn't really matter. You can always retract cheap-looking moves. If you're using them to provoke weaknesses, then you provoke weaknesses. So anyway, I'm being respectable with white today with the English opening. I'm going to capture towards the center here. Okay. d3, knight ge2, h3. Maybe g4 and knight g3 here. Oh, this kind of excites me, this position, because I'm thinking I can play h4. I've got this dark square bishop without the counterpart. Lots of dark square targets as well. It looks as though my rook, my lazy rook, doesn't even have to, I don't have to castle. I can use the default rook position. Okay, maybe it's not the end of the world for the opponent, but it's looking as if, okay, this looks like could be a problem. Could be a problem for black here. I think something like king e2 and queen here is a quick way to crack battery. If needed. I mean, king e2 in this position is a very, very fast battery construction. If you look at the tactics, just to get a vibe, whatever, it doesn't seem that dangerous generally. Queen g4, bishop f3. So, yeah, okay, I'll try it. There's always bishop d5, bishop b7, but always trebling as well. I think I'll insert bishop d5. There's bishop e6. It's queen h2. Okay, queen here. Should be free. A1, h1. Yeah, it looks as though the knight's not that great here for black at the moment. Knight e7, bishop e6. So I'm playing bishop e3 and rook. The other rook over here. Right, this looks, looks crushing actually to me. It looks crushing. There's too much force on this battery. Kaiser, subscribed at tier 1. Thank you so much. And also thank you again to Mimic. Yes, you can subscribe by Prime as well, apparently. Thank you so much. Yes. Okay, I think this battery construction is pretty dangerous, guys. I'm going to take that off. It's the defender of h7. I'm going to take that guy off. When you set up those batteries, yeah, as I've mentioned in my amazing tactics course, it's like you're creating when you set up a battery, by default, you're creating, usually, killer common squares. It's the easiest way. Even if you're not consciously setting up common squares, you are. When you batterize your pieces in batteries, let's have just without the increment, please. Chess Master 25. You're creating those common squares between your pieces. That's so vital, so vital. So for me, pins and batteries are like meat and potato of tactics, and common squares generally. Even if it's outside the context of a battery, when you get your pieces cooperating together, that's when the magic happens. On what I call like common squares. I like to think of it like common squares. So here, okay, so bishop e3, queen d2, f4, f5. It's a templated plan, I must admit. It's like using a ready-made recipe here. And there is tension in the position. And it's interesting to consider what happens if either side releases the tension. What actually happens? And for me, it's, yeah, it really, you're going to like, both sides are probably going to be calculating. But it seems, for the moment, f takes, knight takes, knight g5 is favourable to me for the moment. Okay, I'm going to go in with this. I stabilise. Oh, okay. This could end badly for me. This rook doesn't seem this. Okay, I'm not sure I want the rook there. I mean, sometimes it's a good exchange there. I think I am going to take here now and play this. I'm the one releasing that tension. I've still got control of d5. That's fine. I have got this pawn under fire. Knight d5 still maintains an outpost on d5 if I wanted. Okay, I'm weakening h3. Can I slip in g4 here? Or maybe, I wonder if g4 is too weakening. There's also a rather boring plan of taking queen d5. Is that endgame totally terrible? I wonder also knight c3 is an interesting thing. Or is there knight d4? F takes is also interesting. It's all pretty interesting. Okay. I'm going to go with this. If I can get the f4 square, I think that's something. If this happens, it seems as though that pawn and that one are isolated. Okay, the f4 square here, covering up f3 control from my opponent, threatening the bishop. Queen d5, king h7, bishop d4. I might have at some point some tactic involving bishop e5 and knight g6. If you can remove an h-pawn, you get an h-file attack. My rooks are not ready for using the h-file right now. But there's at least actually there's a threat of bishop e5, queen e5. Is there not? c6 could be a problem. Maybe there's queen e4. c5 might be good, a strategic break formatting to stop c6 if nothing else. Factor in g5, there's knight h5. I don't think knight f3 is a problem. c6, queen d6. Maybe c5 all in all is a good bet here. So I've got a couple of ideas. A kind of rook lift and a knight g6. I've got this one and this one and this one for rook d7. Okay. So bishop d4 for bishop e5 and queen e5. Okay, this very committal decisions, these pawn moves. They're the only ones that can't go backwards. So very committal decision. Unless it's very tactically justified, This sort of thing can backfire, but yeah, knight f3 is a justification. However, there's a nasty pin there, and knight f3, there's rook f3. It's a nasty pin. Okay. Oh, I did have queen e5. I've just missed my shot. I missed my shot there. I've got it here. Oh, there's rook f6. It's slightly different. I missed the shot. Oh well. All right, thanks for the game, Chessmaster. Okay. Can we try 3 minute, guys? 3 minute. Just big cues today. Big cues. 3 minute or bullet. Topsy-turvy. We haven't played before, I believe. Okay, so here we go. So bishop c5, d6, a6, bishop a7, standard plan. Try to exchange off this for this again, potentially, or just get the dark square bishop. Okay, putting this guy back. Okay, the castle, knight h7, probably knight g5. And then I like the look of that as a sort of support for f4. So knight g5 as a support for f4. Even though that's double pawns, I think that's quite interesting. Okay, there is a tactic here, knight h3 for queen h4. It's probably worth doing that because strategically it's the dark square bishop anyway, which I want. I want to have this guy without the counterpart. By the way, can someone remind me, we should be raiding Ginger GM off. He's raided me now 3 times. I've not returned a single raid yet. Does he stream at this time of the day? Does anyone know? I don't know if anyone can check that out. If we, maybe at 1:30, especially if he's around, that'd be really cool. Otherwise, I'll try another time. So, Ginger GM, if we could try and raid him at some point, if you guys could remind me. Is he? All right, so anyway, bishop takes h3 for queen g3. I mean, this looks very, very dangerous. Queen g3, queen h3. Looks dangerous. Bishop h3, queen g3. Well, yeah, I think it's too dangerous for white here. I'm just going to... I mean, bishop g4, actually. f5 seems logical. g6. It's a bit of an overload. Pardon me. Mind you, I'm giving the e4 square. It's a bit controversial, actually, giving the e4 square. I could try and undermine e4 first. Bishop taking here. When you give up a bishop of a certain colour, you're creating some possibilities on the other colour by dismantling, a bit of the light squares. I think I might try this. With the idea of... I'm not convinced, actually. There's a way of building up here for f5 quite peacefully. Just rook f7, rook f8, f5. I could try that, the peaceful method. Just create the battery first before f5. Okay. Battery's created first. I don't think this play helps white too much. It's just weaken those dark squares a little bit more. As this is the peaceful method of playing for f5. Trying to be respectful today without too much speculative play of f5 immediately. This looks far more considered. f5 without risk. Focal point is f2 of all the pieces here. g6 for f5 then. Oh, it looks a bit slow now. It would give me a g file if e takes, g takes, g file. Alright, it looks devastating to me, this position. Because of rook here. It looks devastating. Here we go. Power of the pin, piece or pawn is illusionary. Bear that in mind when you've got pins. Okay, thanks. Who haven't we played before? Hector, I'm pretty free 8. No, Hector, no. No, none of that increment. So anyone we haven't played before, especially, I'm sure we played Chala before. Queen sacking plays. I'm not sure that name rings a bell. No, it's 0-0. That means we haven't played before, doesn't it? Ah, ow. Gotta be careful about the pre-moves. That could have been a disaster in the opening with that pre-move. So f5 coming up, or d4, d5. Oh, b3, d4, d5. Oh, no, no. Come on. He set a pace that I'm listening to, unfortunately. I should stop listening to the pace of his moves. I just try and get my own pace here. There is 3 minutes. It's not a bullet game. There's 3 whole minutes. I've just blundered a pawn now. But there could be compensation. I hope. Is that f5 in this position? Try and slow down the pace to my pace. Although I'm getting hacked here, aren't I? This G file is now vicious. And there's knight e5. This could be a nightmare. I think this is one of those nightmare games. d3 is hanging. This is how not to play the English opening, unfortunately. I've been hacked. My opponent's done all the right things to hack me to death. Castling queenside. Knight e4. Try and have some say in the game. This doesn't look very well, this position. This doesn't look entirely well. Okay. I don't know. How am I exactly falling apart? Is the question. I'm always wondering if well, I've been wondering recently if bishop h2. Again, knight takes f3. Is that a glimmer of hope? Has he let me come back? Miracle here. I think he might have let me come back in this game. Let's queen g4. Unless I'm okay, make sure I'm not getting mated. Rook c1. There's these pieces need to be protecting each other. I feel. A2, d3. Bishop d2. Bishop c3. Or maybe knight c5. Knight c5. Okay, so a3 or bishop c3. Or here. Alright, I think the worst is over. Can I just offer the exchange? Queens? Okay, that was not very convincing by me. I'm sorry. Fresh bishop. We've played these guys before. Haven't we? Fresh bishop. Something. Of Belair. Yeah, I sometimes get into my opponent's rhythm too easily. Influenced. So it's a 3-minute game. Try and keep it as a 3-minute rather than bullet psychology. So, okay, so e4, again, bobbling, being boring today. h3 and castle. I think there's enough variation anyway in the opponent setups. This is a bit like the stone wall, but more respect. In a way, I'd argue it's a bit more respectable than the stone wall. A lot more, maybe. Because the stonewall attack with white isn't played. In the stonewall attack, you get a weakness on e4 rather than d4. You've got pawns on here and there. But f4 generally weakens your king as well. And you've got a bad bishop. Here, there's no bad bishop. So that's why I'm thinking in general it's a little bit more respectable. Or a lot more than the stonewall. There's no bad bishop with this. You accept the d4 weakness, but it makes the position kind of easier to play. In some respects, but probably limited in diversity. Okay, so f4, queen d2, okay, d1, g4, knight g3, f5. That sort of plan, stereotypical. Okay, so here we go. Rook ad1. So is knight d5 any good? I'm thinking this could be good. That could be a marker for a backward pawn. If he took, and I've got this structure, it could sometimes mark this backward pawn. All right, I'll go with that anyway. Okay, so here, yeah, let's prepare as though c7 is an x-ray issue. I just realised something about this. I just got some vibes about this position. That there's some airiness. If I played d4, I think there's some dark squares to be capitalised on d4 as well, actually. If this got exchanged off, we've got two kind of weaknesses to play on this diagonal. and this, yeah, file. So I'm going to try target both. D4 is a sort of prelude to try and weaken the diagonal. But the C6, I mean, C6 could be a resource for black. That's a very, very good point. That's a very, very good point. Unfortunately, okay. It's good that, as I mentioned before, these are 3-minute games. It means I can always swindle you guys just in case you get completely winning positions. That's my plan B. Yeah, I've been very crafty, haven't I? Creating a plan B secretly. Yeah, creating a plan B in the change of format. Yeah, but you know, also Magnus Carlsen prefers 3-minute games. Yeah, I think he's got the same idea. Okay, so there's Rook F4. There's literally Rook F4, isn't there? Should be fine. There's literally that tactic, isn't there? Okay. Okay. Oh, hold on. He's only got a second, but I want to make this good. A good move or two here. I'm about to lose my D6. No, it's pretty sad. It's a pretty sad state of affairs, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. Saved by the bell. Okay. Have we played this guy before? Okay. Is it going to be revenge? He's beaten me before. Was it horrific? Probably. Okay. Hi there. This. Okay. So G6, Bishop G7. Okay, let's do this. So this is a stonewall kind of attack. Let's try and exchange off the light square bishops. Okay, this is a bit of a target, isn't it? If I play this, there's a target here. So knight c6, I'm undermining the center. Not too much has been left of white center, but okay. d5 is vulnerable. I'll go back here provocatively because I don't want to lose d5. That's a nice juicy f5 square. Nice juicy f5, blocked in bishop. Can't complain about this position. Queen b6 could lead to knight d7, fork. I have to be aware of the fork, I suppose. Or I can just snap that guy off. Am I going to get mated on g7? I hope not. Okay. So queen b2, I hit the bishop. I can try and exchange the queens off and win the endgames. Okay, so here we go. Queen e4, rook c2. Well, there's a knight e3 tactic here. Hitting the queen, hitting f1. So knight e3 looks strong. And just for some visualization training, it could be useful as well. I mean, to calculate knight e3, visualize, calculate knight e3. I can't see what white's doing after knight e3. Queen h4, knight f1. I cannot see it. My queen's protected. Rook c8, knight g4. I cannot see it. I think I'm going to play knight e3. I've also got Queen G2 if it's not on G2. Thank you. If you give me games like this, guys, my street cred on YouTube goes up. Yeah, so please, just feel free to to push pawns, create loads of weaknesses. I love exploiting weaknesses. Yeah, it builds up my street cred as well. Yeah, thanks very much. Okay, thanks. Okay. Anyway, revenge. It's 1-1 now. Okay, so no, a bit unlucky there. Guy Pro. Okay. Yeah, youtube.com/Kingscrusher. If you want to check out my YouTube channel, guys, youtube.com/Kingscrusher. I was one of the original live commentators back in the day. Majdu 2006 got me into recording the screen back in the day. Yeah, we are talking about 2006. I noticed at that time, even back in 2006, guys, that my videos where I talked about Nakamura were actually getting more views than my other videos. Even back in 2006, Nakamura indirectly was a major thing for YouTube, but now he's on Twitch, and it's no surprise to me. He's just an amazing tactical genius. There's no surprise he's dominating. Going to dominate both, I think, YouTube and Twitch pretty soon if he hasn't already. Well, Twitch definitely, but YouTube maybe a little bit more. But yeah, so back in 2006, Nakamura was hot stuff as well. Back in the day, guys, back in the day. But at that time, so there was J. Roby Chess and Chess Networks, one of the originals. Chess Explains, one of the originals. So yeah, if you ever want a history of, come to me. Yeah, I know about it from 2006. Yeah. Okay, bishop takes c6. I'm hitting the queen, protecting my queen. I think this is good news. Okay. I think I've won a piece. This wins a piece, this little tactic. Got to be careful about these little tactics. Sometimes being too keen to exchange off pieces can backfire. And that is in the Swindler's toolkit as well, when you can expect that if you're down in material, the opponent to be trying to simplify the position. I think in the Swindler's toolkit, that's the sort of thing you not just try and anticipate, you try and set traps around, in particular, simplification traps in the Swindler, which I shouldn't tell you guys because you could swindle me with it, but it's out there now. It's out there. It was top secret, but yeah. If anything you take from this stream, you're taking good stuff. How to swindle now, yeah? You just wait for those, you set traps around simplification. I read it somewhere in a chess magazine actually once. John Spillman's good at that. Apparently, there was this game he was down, and he did set traps around simplification. So yeah, it's not my idea. Okay. So anyway, Queen A5 though. Let's see, Queen D6. Knight B5, I'm hitting D6 and A7. So is Ginger GM around? We're raiding in 8 minutes. Please tell me your favourite target raid. If Ginger GM isn't around, let me know who you think we should raid after, yeah? Okay, so A4, A5. Or A5 here. Okay, I think I'm doing well in this one. Okay, here we go. Okay, thanks for the game, Guy Pro. Big Chem. Have we played Big Chem already? No, we haven't played Big Chem ever. It seems 0-0. 0-0. That's a good sign. We get some diversity. So, F5. Huh? This makes sometimes this plan more effective. Knight GE2, D4, D5, C5, D5, that sort of thing. I like the F4 square. Queen E7 runs into C5. Trapping the bishop. That's a trap to be aware of. Sort of trap. It's not really a trap. I mean, I didn't go out my way to set this trap. It's just the bishop seems a bit awkward there, running into C5 all the time, actually. Okay, so Queen B3. Now I'm going to stop Queen B4. I think I want B3. Oh, that's actually okay. There is a pattern, a mating pattern in these positions to be aware of, which is this H5 and Knight G6 pattern to be aware of in this kind of thing. When you've got a knight on F4, or your opponent's got a knight on F4, it's kind of dangerous if the rook's on H1, X-raying these squares, yeah? So we've got this dangerous X-ray to kind of celebrate. Oh, I'm just going to take that then. I think that's pretty non-controversial to take that. Okay, so knight F4, bishop D2, rook C1. Looks as though this is very handy, this position. Looks a very handy position to have. Okay. I should have mentioned, yeah, 3-minute preferred. Bishop F1 to C4 for H5 for Knight G6. If the king was there, you can see that this mechanism would be a kind of checkmating mechanism. I'm going to aim for that, kind of reverse engineer for that kind of position. Yeah. It's one which is dangerous. It's a dangerous pattern. But in the meantime, there's other stuff going on here. Okay, thanks for the game. Okay, so did we play Feather Bind? Did we? I'm not sure if we played today, or I am losing track now. Okay. This is one of the last games, I think, coming up. Oh, no. Not an exchange French. No. The terror of the exchange French. I'm going to try and weaken these light squares. Right, so rook e8, bishop d6. This creates an imbalance of knight g6, which might not be a terrible thing. F4 looks as though that's possible. Knight e4, knight d5, bishop e5, there's d takes protecting d5. So I wonder what to do. Okay, maybe just a retreat for the moment and sort out c6 if possible, just to relieve my pieces of the responsibility of protecting d5. The pawns, protect the pawns. The pieces got better things to do in general. So now I can work with the pieces again without them nannying the pawns. Okay, so knight d7. Maybe there's f6, but there's bishop d6. It's possible that this... there's a dark square thing going on. Is this too dangerous, though? This looks a bit ominous. I wonder. I think it might be the safer bet. Oh, I don't know. It seems as though it's a dark square bishop without a counterpart, yeah, but it's battering ram versus battering ram as well. But I'm hitting e5, and this queen could be pesky with queen h4, queen g5. And bishop c5, it seems as though there's a certain springiness to the position on the dark squares. So queen h4. But I could be wrong, because there's also, okay, g5, which I'm eyeing g1. The rooks are not connected yet. Can I play knight? Is that necessary evil to play knight b6? It's not really ideal, but just to connect the rooks up ASAP. Okay, I don't mind that. Maybe knight c4, I'm torturing the queen side here. e5 is also a bit weak. Giving the opponent a protected pass pawn is not ideal. I'm hoping I have some compensation. Let's just take it off. Okay. Stop the rooks working as a team. So b2 is a bit vulnerable. Is there a possibility tactically of rook h4? Because it only takes this. This is a double-edged thing to celebrate quite often. My instinct is to try and celebrate that. Moves like g5. Knight takes b2 though in the meantime. Is that backfiring? Probably. I could repair knight b2. This exchange sack is mildly dangerous. I'll go with b5. I think rook h5, g5, rook h4 is a plan. I'm threatening knight. If he goes there, it's a bit passive. I might want to keep the bishop. It's a nice barrier for these rooks working together. I don't want to take that pawn. I think I'd rather go for this. Well, the knight's holding e5 anyway. That's a good point. Okay, I don't want to be speculative about it. Let's just go for this endgame. My opponent has beaten me before, has some teeth. I'm sure of it. Okay. So let's not go crazy sacking a knight. So anyway, so knight f6. I think I can I get my king over here? This is dangerous, knight d4 for knight e6. Probably I need to do something about that. Yeah, it looks a bit controversial, this position. If I can bring my king to d6, there's king e5. Okay, king c6. I've got a pass pawn now. Something to celebrate. Uh-oh. Basically, uh-oh. What have I done? What have I done this time? Okay. All right. Thanks for the session, guys. All right. Who to raid? Is Ginger GM around? Is Ginger GM around? I'm going to check if he's around. Okay. Twitch TV.